Yes,
Pretty sure.
you are
Yes.
right. Also, Islam comes from the Arabic root, which means peace.
Yes.
However, because of the radical movements and bigots, there are people who call themselves Muslims but act opposite to the morals of the Quran, which commands love, compassion, and mercy. These radicals are ignorant and away from true understanding of Islam. They are savage, ruthless people and have no love for women, children, or anything beautiful. They are violent against the Christians, Jews, and even Muslims from other schools or sects. Mr. Mahroui, can the Western world see the difference between these radicals and the true Muslims who support all branches of science, art, music, aesthetics, and knowledge? Do you also think that if this true understanding of Islam is understood well and supported by the Christians and Jews, there would be no place for radicals and extremists?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think these are really important questions. The challenge is the following. I mean, the texts are subject to interpretations, and it's very hard to enforce one single interpretation. There are always going to be some people, some fringes in society who might misinterpret or some texts or some quotes about Islam, and therefore the question is practical now. How are you going to deal with those misinterpretations or interpretations of in different way of the Quran? I mean, of course, in the West, there is an understanding. There is an understanding that the Muslim world is not just this radicalism. I mean, yes, the media amplifies that, but it is clear understanding that the Muslim world has a history, has a culture, has a civilization. Just last week or 2 weeks ago, the Louvre in Paris opened this whole section on Islamic art, Islamic architecture. In New York, you are going to go to the museums where you are going to find exhibits about Islam and Islamic civilization. So I don't think that there is some kind of view, monolithic, at least in many sophisticated circles, that Islam is very diverse, and even the U.S. government is aware of that. Otherwise, it will not engage with some with Islamic parties. So I think there is an understanding that the Muslim communities are very diverse. There are different views. Nonetheless, the presence of the fringes in when these opportunities, when there's like the video about the Prophet and all of that the strong reaction creates problem. And yes, we do say that Islam is the religion of peace. Nonetheless, there are acts of violence associated with images of Islam a lot of the time. So I think there is really, I think there is a problem. There is a problem somewhere, not a problem of Islam, but how Muslim communities are going to deal with the role of religion in the public square. And I really think that Muslims have to confront the question of the individual rights, that some people are going to be should have the capacity to be different, and that is something that we have to work on, that Muslim communities as a whole are going to. And nobody is saying that that Muslim societies so import the institutional fabric of democracy from either the United States or France or Norway. Nobody is saying that these societies are similar or should embrace all the values. Nonetheless, I think there are some basic principles that the idea of live and let live is really important. That's plurality. That we are a plural community despite all of us being Muslims, or if we are different there are different groups in Morocco, regardless of religion. Well, we have to respect those differences, whether ethnic, racial, linguistic, and Islam is a form of spirituality. It is. I mean, in a world that is really starving for spirituality, this is the moment. I mean, to say, well, look, I mean, Islam is a grace. I mean, you can be spiritual in your own way. But with the violence, with the upheaval, with the backlash, with all of this, it completely destroys the image of Islam.
Yes, as you said, yes, there are some people, there are some group of people who misinterpret Islam. So that causes violence, that causes terrorism, that causes some killings. That has nothing to do with Islam at all, because as my brother just told, Islam is the word for peace. So there is no compulsion, there is no way of exerting force on someone to believe or not believe. So if there is someone to blame, these are the people who misinterpret Islam, are people to be blamed.
Inshallah.
Because
Yeah,
Islam,
that's
and for academicians or people who know the Quran for real, the verses that teaches peace, love, mercy for others, we have to teach them the truth. We have to teach them, teach the people who are misinterpreting Islam the truth, inshallah.
Inshallah.